Captain Kyle Smith, and this week I sat down for a morning meeting with retired San Diego Fire Department Captain and current San Diego Firefighters Credit Union Board member Michael McCormick. Michael outlines all the ways the credit union far surpasses the big banks and tells us why you should switch. Hope you guys enjoy it. All right, hey Michael, welcome to the bullpen. Thanks for meeting me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you come very highly recommended. No pressure, of course, but very highly recommended from Chief Robert Logan, who I know you work with there at the credit union. So thank you for your time. I know it's getting late. You live now on the East Coast, but we do appreciate you being here, and hopefully we can share some information here and push out information to people interested in financial literacy. Well, with that in mind, with you now living on the East Coast, I know you do some traveling back here to the West Coast. How has the pandemic affected just travel and life in general for you?
Well, yeah, my usual routine for the last 15, 20 years has been to fly cross country once a month or so. So I'm involved in a small business in San Diego, and I'm also on the San Diego Firefighters Credit Union board. And so I would come out, I would fly out each month for those meetings and spend some time at my business that I helped the owner found. So I last flew out in March until this last trip I did a week ago. And so it's really 5 months without being in San Diego, which is the longest time ever that I've been away from San Diego, and the longest time my wife and I have ever actually spent together without one of us traveling, because she had a big job that a lot of our time together, she would be on a plane Monday, come back Friday night until she retired.
Okay. And are the airports still empty? I haven't traveled in quite a while myself. Are people traveling? Do you feel the economy starting to pick back up, or is it still pretty dead out there?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The airports are sort of interesting. So when I got in the airport at Dulles in Washington, D.C., actually Northern Virginia, the curbside was busy. The ticket counters were busy. And I don't know if I was just at a surge of United flights. When I went through pre-check, there was one person in front of me. When I got to the gate, it looked sort of similar. They have changed how they board. They now board from the back of the plane forward, so people aren't walking by each other. And a lot of the businesses in the terminal were closed. It felt, when I got to San Diego, I landed at about 8 o'clock at night, with everything being closed and virtually empty, everyone wearing masks. I felt like I was in some sort of sci-fi dystopia, kind of movie, and there was just this weird stuff going on. I just felt kind of weird. Yeah. So when I flew out in March, I had a family event to go to, and that was right as things were closing down. On the way there and the way back, I had about 15, 20 people on a 737. So it was really easy to be, kind of socially distant and those sort of things, and stay away from people on the airplane, because there's nobody on the airplane, nobody at the gate. But the travel has come back. I would say that both my planes were more than half full. And, but with the travel being off 70% of the flights that were flying before, the airports are roughly kind of dead.
Yeah. It seems like it's kind of a double-edged sword in that way, whereas on the one hand, it's probably very nice to have an empty or half empty plane. You can kind of stretch out a little bit. The prices of tickets have come down significantly. But the backside of that means the economy's suffering in a way. So, whereas I really enjoy the fact that there's hardly any traffic on the road, the price of fuel has come down. What that means is that the economy is lagging. So it is interesting to see it sort of firsthand like that. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing.
True that. And you certainly going forward, the fact that so many people have lost their jobs, so many businesses have closed, particularly small businesses, so many larger companies have closed. This is not going to be like a typical sort of recession where things just get hurt rather than they get fired and closed. And so I think it's going to be a little bit of a long haul. I mean, 70% of our economy is a consumer economy. So if people have lost jobs and small businesses have closed, the consumer economy eventually has to not work, even though right now big box stores are doing great business.
Right. I just saw Target hit record numbers.
Yeah. Yeah,
For me, that was surprising. But well, why don't we dig into that a little bit more when we get into your first alarm? That sound good?
sure.
All right, well, cool. So as you will well remember, a first alarm assignment here on the San Diego Fire Department includes 4 engines and 1 truck. But here at the Firehouse, I'll ask you 4 questions. You'll give us 1 piece of advice. That sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So here comes your first alarm, and you're going to be first in. So you're first in. You need to give a size up, and that's who you are, where you worked, and how long you were on.
So I was actually hired by 3 different fire departments in the 70s. I paid volunteer, Lower Sweetwater Fire Protection District down between National City and Chula Vista doesn't exist anymore. Then I got picked up by Lakeside Fire and wasn't quite with them a year before I got hired by San Diego. I got hired by San Diego in the 21st Fire Academy, January of 1980, and I retired in 2006.
Was that, did you come on with Zeke Sanchez?
I did. And the other famous person in our academy was Javier Maynard.
Oh, okay. So for those of you listening that aren't aware, Javier Maynard was our old fire chief. Michael, I had Zeke Sanchez on the podcast recently, and he claims that the 21st Fire Academy is the best academy that San Diego City's ever produced. I actually argued it was the 67th, but maybe you could shed some light on that.
Well, I think that you being a fire academy trainer, if you don't have every academy thinking they're the very best, then you guys aren't doing your job right.
That's true. That is true. And we have the 90th Fire Academy coming through right now, and I can tell you proof positive that they are the best academy we've ever produced.
That's great. I mean, there's nothing like getting the ticket to be on the job and going through the academy. I mean, it really is a life-changing and just a fabulous experience. That sense of camaraderie and fraternity that you have on every firehouse is wonderful. And I can say from the credit union point of view, exactly what we're trying to continue to do and expand and enhance in the credit union. We view ourselves as kind of another fire station, and we hope you guys feel that way too.
Yeah, can you just expand on that? And but before we get to that, I feel like most of us, when we get that letter saying that we've been accepted into the Fire Academy, I think it's just a huge sense of accomplishment and the amount of work it takes just to get your foot in the door. Then add to that the amount of work it takes to get through the Fire Academy and then out on the floor. I remember feeling just such a huge sense of accomplishment that I'd finally done something significant. And I get the sense that most people feel that way. And while we're joking that the 21st Academy or the 67th Academy was the best one ever, the camaraderie that you feel, the fraternity that we have, it's something special. And I think it's one that you don't readily find in other industries. And I think that kind of transitions really well into the discussion about who the Firefighter Credit Union is, who it serves, what it's for, who it's available to, and some of the services that it provides. Do you mind just expanding on that?
Oh, sure, not at all. So one of the key things about the credit union is established in 1984 by a bunch of San Diego firefighters, and with the support of the Relief Association and the union. And the key difference between whatever financial institution or bank that you use and the fire credit union is the fire credit union is composed of members. Our job there on the board and the staff is to serve those members. It's not to make money off those members. I mean, we have to make enough money to keep the staff paid and keep the doors open. Unlike banks and credit card companies, whose job is to enhance shareholders, not the person using the credit card, not the person writing a check. A completely different mindset from what we do on the credit union. Our job is to serve our members, and we are constantly looking for new ways where we can provide services that are basically cost less or free to our members. And that fundamental difference is there. On the other side, we really provide pretty much anything any other financial institution can do. We offer free checking. We have online bill pay. We have remote deposit capture to take pictures of checks and deposit them. You know, it's we know we're only one facility, one building, and we're trying to serve San Diego County. So we know that the web is how we do that, telephones, whatever. And so we're just laser focused on doing that. And we try to get smarter about it. I'm also on the board of the National Council of Firefighter Credit Unions. I was one of the founding members to start an organization that brings together firefighter credit unions throughout the United States, of which there's about 80 of them. And we gather once a year to try to, figure out how we can better serve our members. And we talk about, unlike you think about most businesses, it would be really rare for people that are in the same business to go into a room and say, hey, this is something I'm doing that's really working well. Let me help you do it. Normally, it's quite the opposite. If you try to take my service and use it there, I'm going to sue you.
Oh, that's brilliant. Is the San Diego Firefighter Credit Union, is that only available to San Diego City people? Or is that open to other firefighters? Who's eligible to join up?
That's a really good question. If you are a firefighter in San Diego County, you are eligible. If you recently expanded the field of membership to people that are retired. So like there's a big New York group that is retired here. So any firefighter of any kind is eligible to join. And once that person joins, their spouse, their kids, their parents, their brothers, their sisters are all eligible to join. We really look at it as a fire family as opposed to just a firefighter. And we're very focused on San Diego County. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing is because it's from firefighters for firefighters and the family, you automatically know you're going to get that higher level of customer service. It's going to be people that you can trust. You're going to be treated like somebody that is not just another number or just another checking account. You're going to be able to phone up the credit union and actually talk to a person. And I'm just speaking from my own experience here. Those are those little things. And sometimes maybe it's intangible, but it's those things that can really separate the credit union from other sort of big box, big bank institutions where you are just another number. They could care less if you're not getting the customer service that you want and think you deserve. So I think that piece.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And we encourage you to name another financial institution or any large business where you can call a member of the board of directors and tell them what you want or what you didn't like. Right. Please call any of the board members. We're firefighters. We're happy to listen to you. We'd much rather have you, complain to us than, complain to other people. We can usually fix it.
Yeah, no, exactly. We are professional problem solvers. And with that, we like to complain. So it is nice when we can complain to other professional problem solvers that can help us get to the bottom of whatever those complaints are. So I just love that. Looking back, Michael, how did you get involved with the credit union? Did you come on the fire department with a significant amount of financial literacy or financial education? What got you involved in the credit union? Why did you want to join up with them?
Yeah, well, I was always an investor when I was a young kid. Even though I grew up in a working class family, I got interested in the stock market and bought some stocks and started to pay attention to that. My undergraduate degree at San Diego State was in mathematics, and then as I was going back to get was interested in a master's of public administration. I was talking to Joe Duffy, who was a captain on the job and he was the chairman of the credit union, and that got me interested in the credit union. But Joe did something really significant for me. He said, "Why would you get the master's in public administration when you could spend the same amount of time and get a master's in business administration and MBA?" Because it's, when you're no longer in the fire service, it'll be much more valuable to you than a master's of public administration, which I did. I went through the MBA program at San Diego State, and it really kind of took my literacy to a new level financially. And I guess I was always a little bit attracted to that. And then the next thing that happened is I was kind of getting near the end of my fire career. a good buddy of mine was a PhD in bioengineering, and he was starting up a new company to do cryosurgical ablation of the prostate. His basically innovation was, you know how they freeze warts off the outside of your body, and whereas prostate cancer, they go in and do a radical procedure. They cut the tumor out. His idea was, why don't we just go in there and freeze it out with cryogenic liquid like we do outside the body, and it'll just slough off, and it'll be much less painful and much easier. And so I started working in that, and that led to helping one of the engineers that was involved in that company found his own business to create new medical devices. So it's an engineering services business in Solana Beach. And I've been the finance partner in that for 20 years or so.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's
so
incredible.
kind of one thing led to another. It's kind of funny how things happen.
Yeah, no kidding. Looking back, anything you'd change, in terms of mistakes you made along the way, or things you wish you would have taken advantage of or knew more about when you were coming up?
I really, the 21st Fire Academy was the first fire academy in about 2 or 3 years. And so I was really kind of very fortunate. I was kind of ahead of the pack from a seniority point of view. My first steady house was old 19s. What you guys see as 19s now is new 19s, but it probably seems like old 19s at this point.
Yeah.
And then before I had a year on the job, I was over at 12s and spent several years there. So having come from Lower Sweetwater and Lakeside, to go to 19s and 12s and fight fire for a living and like go run calls all day long was just, kind of a dream come true. So, and then I got picked up in the arson team just before I made engineer. So I spent some time on mast. As a captain, I was at Rescue 4 most of my career. And you know Jeff Frazier?
Sure.
Okay. Jeff Frazier and I were the two captains that wrote our application to be a urban search and rescue team, our successful application.
Wow.
I'd gotten involved in training Rescue Systems 1 on the state level. I get to know those guys and got worked into the rotation. And then there was before the urban search and rescue teams happened, there was a urban search and rescue advocacy group in the state of California that I was on the board of. So really, I kind of did everything. There was only one thing I didn't do that I got recruited to do, and that's the job you have, which is one of the great jobs in the fire department.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
I enjoy it. I love working with the new recruits. It's really rewarding, and it's a way of giving back and a way of just thanking the people that came before me for providing me all the guidance and leadership that they did, and being able to just pay that now forward to the next generation is really, really rewarding personally. And that's actually why the FIREhouse exists at all, as a way of just paying that forward and continuing the conversation about financial literacy and trying to set a plan so that in 20 or 30 years down the line, when we're in retirement, we can look back and really just enjoy ourselves is basically what it comes down to. So, but I guess I was trying to get at did you make any mistakes that you could share with us so that, people listening to this don't make the same ones? Or did you have a plan set in place so that when you're sitting here in retirement, you could go and enjoy playing golf with your wife or anything like that people listening would get some value out of?
Yeah, I paid a lot of attention. I got to tell you, one of the things that was a goal of mine is I was a surfer when I was younger, and there was a guy named Oscar Surrey who had been at 21s forever, and I saw him there, and I thought, you got to make captain early if you ever want to have a chance to get to a beach station. It's a seniority-driven sort of thing. So that was one of my goals, to do that. I never really did that. The hazmat team was at 9s for a little while, sharing that, and that's the most I did there. But the other thing I watched was there were people that either did a second job or largely bought real estate along the way. And I learned that the rules are quite simple. If you want to retire well, and you have to invest what you can, particularly anything where it's matched or someone's going to, kind of increase your money just to that, and tax protected sort of things. as early as you possible can. I think you mentioned it, the power of compounding interest.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to spend a little bit less than you make, even after your investment. And the old rules in my day were to get a house in San Diego and have it paid off by the time you retire. Some of the people bought other houses or kept the houses as they moved up in houses. And then back then we had a defined benefit pension plan, which I know you guys don't have anymore. And then it was kind of easy to get to retirement. Basically live just a little bit below your means. And back in the day, I know when I bought my first house, my mortgage payment was more than my take-home pay on the fire department when I first got on. So I worked every chance I possibly could so I could do fun things like eat and buy gas and utilities. And I would go into stores and look at things and go, can I live another 24 hours without it? And if the answer was yes, I just simply wouldn't buy it. And all my friends made fun of me because I remember I could get a 12-pack of old Milwaukee beer for like $2.29 or something like that. And they all referred to it as old mortgage beer.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That theory or that approach, it's very straightforward. Spend a little bit less than you make, save a little bit out of each paycheck. And it's funny you say that because Zeke, in that recent podcast, he said, if you can just save 10 cents out of every dollar, you're going to be way ahead of the game when you're looking back in 20 or 30 years because of the power of compounding. Is there a recommendation if somebody was starting out an investment vehicle to get started in? So I know you mentioned real estate. If somebody was going to, invest in the stock market, is there somewhere to go there?
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Bogle, who's the founder of the Vanguard Fund, he did a lot of research and study, and basically his point of view was that get an index fund that tracks the overall stock market because it's almost impossible to pick the winners and losers in the stock market. No one's ever been able to successfully do that. It's just too unpredictable. So get something that tracks the index, be a dollar cost average buyer, and put $100 a month in or whatever, and just continue to do that. When stocks dip, you buy more, and when stocks are higher, you end up buying a little bit less. But on the overall, you track on the averages, and then make sure that whatever fund you're in is super low in expenses. That can be a little complicated because some of the fees and charges are hidden in various things. Sometimes it's hidden in what you actually get on the return on their investments. But a couple of things I always looked at have statistics of how much they turn over the fund. And for instance, if it's the turnover is 100%, it means they're selling everything in the fund every year and they're turning it over. Those transaction costs end up costing you money. So I like to have things that have low turnover, down in the 20% or so, and then low fees.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. There's a lot there to kind of unpack. You mentioned Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard. Their model is the index fund. He's widely credited with the invention of index fund investing with those low expense ratios that aren't going to eat into your returns, and you're not going to have somebody trying to churn your portfolio every year to try to jack up those fees on you that you may or may not even be aware of. So I just love the fact that you mentioned that. And you've given us a lot. Is there one other piece of advice that you could give people that are trying to learn more about this, or some resources that people should look to if they're trying to just improve their financial literacy, or just make a few marginal gains here or there?
Well, there's some really basic books that are, kind of like The Millionaire Next Door and that sort of thing that are, kind of classics in the financial world, particularly for someone that is, just kind of starting out. But the other advice I can give you is, if you're banking with a bank, it's costing you money. Come to the credit union, save yourself some money. Like you say, the bank is interested in their shareholders and their executives getting big giant bonuses. Credit union, we're interested in our members, and that's what everybody at the credit union is trying to do, is to do the very, very best we can for our members. the one bit of advice I would give is that uh, things are a little more negotiable when you come to a credit union than they are with a bank. So if you see something that's particularly good and um, you want to understand it, call the credit union. We'll help you understand it. You know, the staff there is smart, and I'm sure they'll tell you about what we can offer because we work very hard to make sure our loan rates are less than our competitors in San Diego at other credit unions, and that our interest rates that we pay on savings and CDs and money markets and all that are better than theirs. That's one of the reports we get every month on the board as a comparison between other large credit unions in San Diego. So dump your bank, come to the credit union.
That's pretty easy. No conflict of interest with people that are really looking out for our best interest. So I really do like that. And Michael, it looks like with that, you got knocked down on your first alarm.
All right, right on, man.
Well, it's probably
Don't have a rekindle.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably been a while, but it looks like you still got it. So with that in mind, if people are looking to learn more about you yourself, where could they find you?
Actually, right now, the credit union, we're having normally our annual meeting is in June, but with COVID, it's going to be virtual in October. If you go to the credit union page, sdffcu.org, right at the very top, it says annual meeting. It turns out I'm one of the 3 board members running for re-election this year. So there's a little blurb on there. And certainly they can call Ed Daly at the credit union or any of the other board members, and I'm sure they'd happy to tell you some lies about myself.
Well, perfect. Well, we will certainly link to all those things in the show notes, and whatever lies they tell us, we'll be sure to include those as well.
Yeah, the lies are always better than the true story, aren't they?
Absolutely. We're never going to let the truth get in the way of a good story. So with that, Michael, I want to just say thank you for your service to this city. Thank you for your continued commitment to the credit union board. And yeah, thanks for your time today.
Oh, my pleasure, Kyle.
All right, thanks again to Michael for meeting me here in the bullpen. When you have someone that's in your corner providing you services that rival the biggest banks, but you know that they have your best interest in mind because they only exist to serve you and other fire department members, you can't help but get ahead. If you'd like to learn more about Michael or the San Diego Firefighters Credit Union, you can find them both at sdffcu.org. That's sdffcu.org. If you'd like to learn more about us, we're on Facebook at The FIREhouse. That's f.i.r.ehouse. On Instagram, the _fire_house. On LinkedIn, The FIREhouse Investors, or any place you listen to podcasts. If you learned something today and you'd like to hear more, please like, share, and subscribe. But no matter what you do, take this information, go out there, and get some. Station F.